Instant match reaction, Arsenal 0, Everton 1 at the Emirates. Everton's first Premier League victory away at Arsenal in over 25 years. Our first double against Arsenal in over 30 years, I think. And what a win that was tonight. A massive, massive win that tonight. A really, really big win in the context of the Premier League season. And it wasn't the greatest performance, was it? It wasn't. I feel like it was a game of two sides that, have, quality players in the team, but weren't really playing good football whatsoever. It wasn't the greatest or most entertaining first half. There wasn't either team weren't really in control of the ball, weren't really in control of the game. And, Everton were doing okay to keep a hold of it and try and get forward and try and force Arsenal into making some mistakes, but there wasn't much going on whatsoever. Gylfi Sigurdsson having the best chance of the first half, striking the bar with a great free kick, to be fair. He's very unlucky to... if that had been a little bit lower, it would have definitely caused Leno some issues. But other than that, it was quite a boring first half. Not a lot happened whatsoever. We settled into the game, I feel like. The first sort of 15-20 minutes, there was just no energy, no intensity whatsoever. Arsenal didn't have much either, to be honest with you. It wasn't like we were absolutely dreadful and they were absolutely brilliant. Both teams struggled to really get the foot on the ball. Both teams struggled to get any sort of energy or... any sort of momentum on the ball. And then the second half, obviously, game, comes alive a little bit. And these are the type of games that Everton need to be winning. The games where it's not necessarily the most entertaining. We don't necessarily play the greatest of football. It is difficult to watch at times. And, I don't think there was as much maybe intensity as there was against Spurs. I don't think we pressed Arsenal as much as we did Tottenham Hotspur. And that is a little bit frustrating because I feel like if we'd have got at Arsenal a little bit more, we'd have forced them into making more mistakes than they actually did. And we might have been able to expose them a little bit more and gotten scored a couple more goals. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we got the win. 3 draws on the bounce: Brighton, Palace, Tottenham Hotspur. What was the most important thing tonight was to go out and get the 3 points. I said it in the game preview yesterday. I don't really care how we do it, to be honest with you. I don't care if it's in the 90th minute. I don't care if it's in the 10th minute and it comes off somebody's arse and it's just 1-0. I don't really care as long as we go out and get the 3 points. The goal was a little bit mad, wasn't it, really? I think Alan plays an absolutely beautiful ball into Richarlison. Alan, I thought, was brilliant tonight. Absolutely brilliant. Started the game a little bit slow, as did everybody else, but the longer the game went on, the more he grew into it, and I thought he was outstanding. It's an excellent chip ball over to Richarlison. Richarlison is quite a long distance onside, despite VAR taking a look at it for about 4 minutes. For some strange reason, you can very clearly see he is behind the defender's foot. He breaks away with Richarlison. He absolutely sells Granit Xhaka. I think he sent Granit Xhaka into the protests outside the stadium, to be honest with you. Leaves him on the floor and he gets to a good position, and all of a sudden you're thinking, is he going to shoot? Is he going to cross it? And he plays the ball across the box, and when he first hits the ball and you can see he's playing it across the box, you're sort of thinking, well, there's 3 or 4 Arsenal defenders in there and the goalkeeper, it's not getting anywhere. And then all of a sudden you blink and it's in the back of the net and you're thinking, how's that happened? And it turns out, obviously, on the replays that he plays it across the box. Leno goes to pick it up, and to be honest, I still don't really know how it happened, and I don't really care, because it went in the back of the net, and Everton have just gone and won our first game in 4 after 3 difficult draws on the bounce, and our first win at Arsenal in over 25 years. So I'm not really bothered how it went in. I'm just happy and grateful that it did go in, but I still haven't quite figured it out, to be honest. It's not like it deflects off Leno. It's not like it's sort of an awkward angle for him. He literally goes to pick it up this way and it ends up going underneath him and going into the back of the net. But I think even the Everton players were shocked, to be honest with you. The cameras didn't know what they were doing, and I think even the Everton players were a little bit shocked that it went in. But we go 1-0 up, and yeah, with 10 minutes to go, and you're thinking perfect, absolutely perfect. Obviously, just before that, Arsenal had a penalty awarded to them. Richarlison, again, be at the other end of the pitch in the opposition box, barely touches Dani Ceballos. In fact, I'm quite convinced that he doesn't make any contact on Dani Ceballos whatsoever. Ceballos does what he does constantly and throws himself on the floor screaming and crying. John Moss gives the penalty straight away. No need for an extra look. VAR didn't really look at it for more than 5 or 10 seconds. For me, again, look, if there's contact, even if there's a slight bit of contact, then it's obvious that it's going to get given as a penalty, because that's football in this day and age. Even when there's not much contact whatsoever, those sorts of decisions get given, and I don't agree with it and I don't like it, but that's football. And then all of a sudden, just as Pepe's about to stand up and take the penalty, again, it goes back to VAR and there's a potential offside. And for me, again, you can see he's offside. Look, it is by a shoulder or by a millimetre or whatever it is, but the lines are drawn and it's given offside. And the irony about that situation is, I feel like it was more of a non-penalty with regards to the challenge than it was an offside decision. But anyway, VAR gives it offside. Arsenal are frustrated, and it's Everton's opportunity then to wake up a little bit. I did think the defending at times, we were a little bit maybe I don't want to say shaken, but there was a couple of times when Arsenal found themselves in good positions. I think Saka had the shot in the first half where he found himself into a good position and Jordan Pickford got down and made the save. There was a couple where Ben Godfrey and Mason Holgate were forced into making blocks. They did get through on a couple of occasions, but I think Everton dealt with it. I thought Mason had a solid game today. I thought Mason Holgate had a solid game. Ben Godfrey again, absolutely solid, brilliant. Luca Dean getting forward a little bit more, put a couple of good balls into the box, put a couple of shocking balls into the box as well. But seemed to be getting forward a little bit more today than he has been doing in recent weeks. And then I've got to give a special shout out to Jordan Pickford. Jordan Pickford, whatever you want to say about him, whether you think he's good enough or not, ultimately Jordan Pickford's come back injured, and in the last two games didn't really have much to do with either of the Spurs goals. And today again in the same, it was sort of a similar scenario to the West Brom game a few weeks back, and the Southampton game a few weeks back, where Everton have scored. The game's a little bit tight, the opposition are looking for the equaliser in the last sort of 10, 15 minutes, 5-10 minutes, not even that, last 5 minutes or so. And all you have to do is sort of hold the game out. And again, in the same ways he did against West Brom, in the same ways he did against Southampton, he's done it again tonight. He's pulled off an absolutely exceptional save. In fact, 2 absolutely exceptional saves. One of them, it was called for a foul on, I think, maybe Yerry Mina. So it wouldn't have counted anyway. But 2 absolutely brilliant saves. The first one, which wasn't called offside, and if he didn't make it, it'd have gone in. Martinelli somehow gets in behind the defence, gets a shot off, and he just gets down brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly, dead quick, dead comfortable, makes the save, pats it out, and again, a couple of minutes later, a shot gets fired back in, and he makes another absolutely exceptional save. And those are the types of saves that win your games, and Jordan didn't have an awful lot to do today, barring the odd jump on the ball here and there and come and collect the ball. He done more with his feet, I feel, than he did with his hands, to be honest with you. There was one point when he pretty much ran into the centre of the midfield. I think he was bored of watching us just playing around, and he ran into the centre of the midfield to try and make something happen. But those are the moments that win your games of football, and those are the moments that hopefully when we sit back at the end of the season and we go, right, this is an Everton team that have finished in a European position, this is an Everton team that are playing in Europe. You look at those types of saves and you think those are the saves that have won us games. Those are the saves that have won us points. I mean, that game, that result puts us on 52 points. I think Chelsea, Liverpool, maybe even West Ham are all on 55. So we're 3 points behind Chelsea, who are currently in the top 4, and the other 2 teams who are just below them. So we're right back in that race now for European football. All we need is those teams to slip up and for us to get a little bit of momentum going. And that's why the win today was absolutely imperative, because 3 draws on the bounce, it was stale. We didn't have any momentum. The performances were, the Tottenham performance was good, but we still didn't get anything out of the game. And today, whilst the performance wasn't unbelievable, we ended up getting the 3 points, which is all that matters. Obviously, Carlo Ancelotti started with a back 4. No Michael Keane involved in the squad whatsoever. I think he's out with a hamstring injury, it was reported. Yerry Mina was back in the squad, but only fit to make the bench. Ben Godfrey and Mason Holgate occupied the centre-back partnership, with Seamus Coleman on the right and Luca Dean at left-back. Both full-backs, I thought Seamus had a solid game today as well. A couple of occasions when he just quietened it down a little bit. He took the steam out of it, certainly when Arsenal were getting forward and trying to ultimately break us down. I thought Seamus done well. Like I said, Luca Dean again, a little bit of, I don't know whether it is, the thing is with Luca Dean is we hold him to such a high standard, don't we? We hold Luca Dean to 5 or 6 goals a season and 10, 15 assists a season or something like that. So when he isn't sort of getting involved and lashing balls in after balls and after balls in, you're sort of sitting there thinking, did he have a great game? I thought he was decent today, put a couple of really menacing balls in, put a couple of bad ones in as well. But defensively, he didn't really do much wrong. And like I said, the 2 centre-halves, I thought they worked well together. Ben Godfrey, again, his useful self, absolutely brilliant performance. Like I said, he's Mr. Consistent, Ben Godfrey. He does that every single week. And I think Mason looked a lot more comfortable at centre-back, to be fair. He looked a lot better than he has done in the last couple of weeks or so, just in that centre-back partnership on his own, where he's only really after focusing on himself. Alan grew into the game in the second half. I thought he absolutely was Was brilliant in the second half, struggled a bit in the opening 20 minutes, but then really grew into the game. Some of the passing that he was playing, some of the passes he was playing were fantastic. James Rodriguez, again, was picking the ball up, spraying passes, wasn't really as involved as we would have liked going forward. Same with Gylfi Sigurdsson, to be honest with you, other than obviously the free kick that hit the bar. Andre Gomez was his usual self, not getting involved in the game whatsoever, not doing anything. And, obviously the forwards, the strikers, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin, again, difficult game for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, done a lot of work, done a lot of battling, done a lot of winning aerial, duels, but didn't really get any opportunities. And then Richarlison, who, was trying to create, was trying to get forward, had a really good shot in the first half, I think, where he cut in on his left foot and smashed it right at Leno, and Leno had to get down and make a good save. And then obviously, I'd like to say he scores the goal, but he creates the goal, doesn't he, by throwing the ball across the box, and Leno then throws it into the back of his net. And I don't know whether that was the most entertaining part of the game, or whether Fabian Delph coming on with completely the wrong pair of socks was the most entertaining part of the game. The ironic thing is about Fabian Delph coming onto the pitch with the wrong pair of socks on is that it's not the wrong pair of socks that makes him stand out in front of everyone. It's the fact that there was a couple of occasions where you look and you think, how are you in this Everton team? But there you go, good to see him back return from injury. And look, I'm not going to rip into him too much because we won, and ultimately that's all that matters. Like I said, tonight, when in these types of games, at this point in the season, when you're not really playing as well as you'd like to be, and when you've had injuries and players are returning and your form isn't quite there and players are tired and players are struggling, all that matters is the win. And that's all that matters between now and the end of the season. By the way, I don't care if we play like that every single game between now and the end of the season. If you could say, I guarantee you a 1-0 win in all of those games, I'd take watching that, because that's all that matters now anyway, is winning games. And no matter which way you win, as long as you win. And Everton won today. Yes, it wasn't through an unbelievable goal or a goal of one of our players, but ultimately we got a bit of luck. When do Everton ever get a bit of luck? They were denied a penalty through an offside, and we had we scored a goal through a shocking goalkeeper mistake. I mean, it makes up for us conceding 2 goals last week to shocking defensive mistakes, doesn't it? At least now we can say, right, we were on the other end of that. We were on the other end of a goalkeeper making a shocker, and our goalkeeper actually having a really, a really good game. He didn't have to do much, but what he had to do, he done really well. So, yeah, look, again, it's a massive, massive win. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it's an unbelievable performance, because it wasn't an unbelievable performance. It wasn't a great game to watch, but I don't really care. Because it's all about getting the win at the end of the day. It's all about getting the 3 points, and that's what we've done today. First league double over Arsenal in over 30 years. Another record smashed. First win at Arsenal in over 25 years. That record smashed as well. So, yeah, absolutely unbelievable victory, and hopefully now that can give us that momentum going forward. Again, it wasn't the best performance today, but hopefully just getting that win, just getting over the line, can give us that momentum for the next few weeks in the season, because we're going to need it, because we are smack bang in that fight for Europe now. We really are. If we'd have lost today, I feel like we'd have been saying maybe it's a bit too much, but 3 points behind with a game in hand on all of those teams, and I get that. I don't want to keep saying a game in hand, because that's not a guaranteed win, but if we can get a little bit of momentum going now, we are right in that fight for the top 6 positions, maybe even potentially the top 4, depending on how Chelsea get on in the next couple of weeks. So there you go, that's the instant match reaction. Let us know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Not the greatest game, not a game that we'll remember, but certainly a result that we'll remember, and one that could be very, very important come the end of the season. Big thanks for watching. Up the toffees, we got over the line, that's all that matters. We haven't won there in 25 years, so winning via a silly own goal by their goalkeeper, I'll take that all day long, absolutely all day long. If you've enjoyed this video, please do leave it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. Check out the Football News 365 app in the description down below. Keep you up to date with all your latest Everton news and information. We'll be back with the player rating shortly. Big thanks for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. Get in, up the toffees. Yes, get in. We won. That's all that matters. Cheers for watching. See you soon.